Hello and welcome to the Sackville Summertide Recital Series second concert. Thank you all for joining us, either for the first or second time. It is our mission to increase in you the joy of music during this time of isolation, and so I hope that you enjoy today's show. Today's guest performer is local flautist Karin Aurell. Karin, after finishing her Masters of Music in Music Performance at Sweden's University of Göteborg, she spent many years playing principal flute in the Norrköping Symphony Orchestra on Sweden's Baltic coast before relocating to Canada in 2001. While playing for the Norrköping Symphony Orchestra, she recorded extensively, working with many prestigious conductors and toured all across Europe. Since coming to Canada, she has built a career mostly as a teacher and chamber musician, performing regularly all across this region, especially with the wind quintet Ventus Machina and the trio Arcade, which, if you haven't heard before, I would strongly recommend searching them up and giving them a listen. Many recordings from these ensembles have received strong reviews and have been nominated for ECMAs in classical music. So we are very lucky to have her on today's program. Before we proceed, I would ask that all who are able please sincerely consider donating to the cause of this free recital series, the Anglican Parish of Sackville, in their general and choral scholarship funds. You can donate at www.canadahelps.org/Sackville-Summertide-Recital-Series, a link for which can be found in the description for this video below. Now, today's program consists of works for flute and organ, which is not a usual combination. Many of the works on today's program are not frequently performed at all, so it is a treat for us to be able to play them for you, and also for you to be able to hear them, probably for the first time, and maybe even for the only time. The first work on today's program was composed by French Romantic composer Johannes Donjon circa 1900, called Tendre Souvenir, or Tender Memory. This piece has just the right amount of cheese to put a smile on your face with its contrasting ternary form, A and B sections, starting with a warm melody, moving into a quick and light middle section before returning to the tender sentiment of the beginning. Please enjoy Johannes Donjon's Tendre Souvenir. Next up is a piece by a favored pupil of the great J.S. Bach, Johann Ludwig Krebs. Bach had actually also taught Krebs' father, and therefore held the younger in very high standing, who is said to have rivaled only Bach himself in technical proficiency at the organ. But unfortunately, due to Krebs' love of what was the old-fashioned Baroque style, he found it very difficult to get a good job, and struggled to feed his family of 8. Nonetheless, despite this rather sad story, Krebs wrote over 1,000 compositions and was rediscovered in admiration during the 20th century. Here is a unique and interesting representation of that joy in Krebs' Fantasia in C major, the composer's favored key, for flute and organ. The next two pieces are the first and third from a suite by 20th century French organist, composer, and soldier Jean Alain. His composition style was influenced by the musical language of the earlier Claude Debussy and his contemporary Olivier Messiaen, as well as his interest in music, dance, and philosophies of the Far East. At the outbreak of the Second World War, Alain's interest and skills in mechanics and motorcycling encouraged him to become a dispatch rider in the 8th Motorized Armor Division of the French Army. On 20th of June 1940, he was assigned to reconnoiter the German advance on the eastern side of Saumur, and unfortunately encountered a group of German soldiers at Le Petit Puy. Coming around a curve and hearing the approaching tread of the Germans, he abandoned his motorcycle, and he alone engaged the enemy troops with his carbine, eliminating 16 of them before being killed himself. For this unbelievable feat, he was posthumously awarded the Croix de Guerre for his bravery, and was buried by the Germans with full military honors. Sadly, however, he left behind his wife and family, as well as a body of compositions viewed by many to have been amongst the most original of the 20th century. Voici les premiers et troisième mouvements de trois mouvements pour flûte et orgue par Jean Alain. Image pour flûte seule, opus 38 by Eugène Botza, is one of Botza's most famous pieces. Technically challenging, it includes flutter tonguing, extreme range, and multiphonics. This makes it a piece often played in competitions and concerts. The composer himself won different prizes at the Conservatoire de Paris, such as first prize for violin, conducting, and composition, as well as the prestigious Grand Prix de Rome. He composed several operas, chamber works, and ballets in addition to this fine piece for flute solo. Finally, a work composed by, well, nobody actually knows. It was first thought to be written by J.S. Bach, but it doesn't hit the hallmarks of his style. After that, it was attributed to C.P.E. Bach, his son, also under suspicion. The third theory, and my personal favorite one, is that it was written by both in the form of a composition exercise given to C.P.E. by his father during his musical training. The overall structure of the piece and the opening themes would have been given by the senior, and the piece completed under his father's scrutiny by the junior. Please enjoy this flute sonata in G minor, written by, well, who knows, but perhaps it was a family effort. Thank you once again, everyone, for coming to join us here at the Sackville Summertide Recital Series. And I look forward to next week's program on Sunday, July 5th at the same time, 2 p.m. Atlantic, for a very experimental program that is Schubert's Dichterliebe song cycle presented for voice with organ accompaniment. So that will be something not to be missed. Very special and unique performance there. And thanks to everybody who is contributing to the CanadaHelps.org fundraiser for this parish of Sackville. And I hope you all have a wonderful week, a wonderful sunny and warm week. And I will see you on Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.